Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's dive into this, because today we're tackling, honestly, one of the most baffling mysteries of modern digital governance. It's a massive headache almost every organization faces, but, very few actually know how to solve it. We're looking at why the systems we rely on literally every single day keep breaking down, even when all of our reports and audits say we are perfectly safe. We're going to explore a really groundbreaking approach called governing by assurance, which is drawn from the work of David Nichols and Rick Lemieux. So if you want to understand how to move beyond this whole illusion of comfort in your organization, you are absolutely in the right place.
Here's our quick roadmap for the explainer. Section 1, the illusion of comfort. 2, paper versus living systems. 3, the new model, CPD. 4, moving from GRC to GRAA. 5, the 7 DVMS capabilities. And finally, 6, QOQM at the boundary. Let's get to it.
Now, I want you to really think about this stark leadership question. If the dashboards are all green, why do systems keep failing? It's a painful paradox, right? I mean, on paper, it's a great day. Vulnerability scans are totally clean, the change windows are perfectly managed, and compliance maps beautifully to external frameworks. You walk into the board meeting feeling like a rock star. And then, bam, an unpredicted outage hits. A massive failure just cascades right through your supply chain. So how in the world can perfect compliance lead to catastrophic real-world outages?
Section 1. The illusion of comfort. This is where we see how hitting framework coverage just quietly became the ultimate goal, and it leaves organizations totally blind to their actual physical weaknesses. Take the 2020 SolarWinds incident as a prime example. Attackers compromised a routine, highly trusted vendor update. So, step 1, the update was approved, routine stuff. But in step 2, the build was stealthily compromised. Step 3, a malicious update gets deployed right through a trusted channel, which results in step 4, a catastrophic, massive breach across thousands of customers and government agencies. Now here's the kicker. Many of these organizations had literally perfect control coverage on paper, but they completely lacked a living evidence loop. The supply chain attack basically just walked right around their beautifully compliant paper overlay. Governance without actual evidence isn't assurance, It's really just reassurance.
Section 2. Paper versus living systems. So we've got to talk about this dangerous, quiet drift that happens between what organizations actually write down in their documents and how their people truly operate under real pressure. There's a stark contrast here. On the paper system side, this is what the board sees, right? Tidy frameworks, beautiful dashboards, color-coded risk matrices. It promises total order. But then you have the living system. This is reality. We're talking workarounds, engineers bypassing approvals just to avoid an outage, a culture that optimizes for survival and hitting deadlines. When the pressure is on to just look good on paper, the living system quickly learns to optimize for the paperwork instead of the actual customer outcome.
Just think about the sheer scale of this disconnect. Millions. That's the number of unauthorized customer accounts opened at Wells Fargo. And the crazy thing is, on paper, they were incredibly well governed. Policies were in place, training was checked off, audits ran perfectly on schedule. But the living culture, which was totally driven by aggressive sales targets, completely overrode those paper controls. The paper system was saying ethical conduct, but the living system was screaming, hit the numbers or else. And honestly, over time, the living system always wins.
Section 3. The new model, CPD. So how do we actually fix this? Well, we need a mental model that's simple enough for an executive to hold in one hand, but powerful enough to unite all these conversations that usually happen in total isolation. And that brings us to CPD. That stands for Create, Protect, and Deliver. Instead of treating growth, risk, and operations like 3 completely different departments that never even talk to each other, CPD views the digital enterprise as one single system. At any important boundary, you have to simultaneously create new value, protect that value from cyber and regulatory risk, and deliver it reliably to the customer. If you treat those as separate conversations, you're just going to get green dashboards coexisting with broken systems.
Let's break these dimensions down a bit. Step 1, Create, is all about speed and market timing. Step 2, Protect, manages the risk. And Step 3, Deliver, ensures reliable scale. But what happens when these get completely out of balance? The source text points to the tragic Boeing 737 MAX story. The absolute mandate to create a fuel-efficient jet quickly and deliver it without needing costly pilot retraining, well, it completely outran the mechanisms meant to protect the system. Crucial assumptions just weren't tested against real-world operator conditions. And when Create and Deliver outrun Protect, those failures are absolutely devastating.
Section 4. From GRC to GRAA.
Okay, this demands a huge shift in our governance mindset. We literally have to move away from this static, activity-based compliance model and head toward a new, dynamic, evidence-based frontier. Traditional GRC, governance, risk, and compliance, focuses really heavily on asking, are we compliant with the rules? And look, it's been great for organizing controls, but it's really hit a ceiling. GRAA flips the script. It changes the primary question to, can we recover when boundaries fail? It's asking you to stop just assuming you're comfortable and start actively assuring you are resilient.
Let's break down this really crucial acronym. Governance is your intent. Resilience is how your system actually behaves under stress. Assurance is the verified evidence that it works. And accountability, actually listen really closely to this one, is the clear ownership of outcomes. It is absolutely not a hunt for blame. It simply means someone clearly stewards that boundary to ensure the right outcomes are met.
Section 5. The 7 DVMS capabilities.
Now, to make GRAA highly practical, we need an operating overlay. And that's exactly what the Digital Value Management System, or DVMS, does. It connects those high-level frameworks directly to real living operations. There are 7 minimum viable capabilities you've got to have. 1. Govern, deciding what good looks like. 2. Assure, testing if that story holds up. 3. Plan, connecting your intent with actual capacity. 4. Design, turning intent into usable patterns. 5. Change, moving from current to future states safely. 6. Execute, running the work under real-world conditions. And 7. Innovate, changing how the system works entirely. Just to be totally clear, these are not departments, they are non-negotiable baselines for digital trust.
Let's apply these abstract ideas to a real-world scenario. Let's look at Meridian, a financial services firm, specifically focusing on their settlement boundary where trades are reconciled. Govern decides what a successful settlement looks like in the first place. Execute is the operations team running those reconciliations every single day, dealing with all the crazy volume spikes. And Innovate is where they experiment with, say, a new handoff protocol during a slow period to see if it speeds things up. See how that works? The capabilities connect directly to the actual day-to-day behavior of the team.
Section 6. QO/QM at the boundary. Okay, so how do we actually measure this stuff without just generating more useless dashboards? Well, this is how we bring the whole framework right down to ground level. Enter QO/QM. That stands for question, outcome, and question metric. This is a brilliant approach because it completely replaces those vague, copy-paste KPI templates. The question outcome is just a super clear statement of what absolutely must be true at a boundary. And the question metric is the most honest, observable signal that tests that truth in everyday work. It directly links what executives are asking to testable operational reality.
For example, imagine a board member asks this really direct question. Could a single supplier failure take down our ability to settle trades? Now, instead of answering with a bunch of generic supplier risk scores or heat maps, a QO/QM tree provides a specific, measurable answer. The question outcome becomes settlement processing can be rerouted within a defined window, right? And the question metric becomes the actual evidence, time to failover from recent live drills. See the difference? It is hyper-specific, actionable, and entirely based on real evidence.
But look, even with the absolute best metrics in the world, we really have to talk about the human element. There's a quote from a frustrated engineer in the source text that says, "We will be back here again in 6 months if nothing about how we work changes." That is such a massive truth bomb. Culture is the ultimate control surface. If your organization's culture punishes people for speaking up about failing metrics, your assurance loop is completely fake. True assurance only happens when your people feel totally safe telling the truth about what is actually broken. Which brings us to our final, really provocative thought for today. I want you to ask yourself, are you running a system you can actually depend on? Are you just producing evidence that you are trying to? Don't let your governance turn into this giant documentary exercise that just hides the messy, living reality of your operations. You've got to focus on outcomes, build up those core capabilities, demand actual evidence at your boundaries, and assure your resilience. I really hope this explainer has equipped you with the framework to finally close that gap between your paper system and your reality. Keep learning, keep questioning, and let's start building systems that actually learn from their failures.